What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Soul Asher, and today I want to talk about positivity in the Black community. Um, Positivity seems to be shunned in the Black community, and for the people that do seek positivity, they're typically looked at as being fake, when in actuality, that's far from the truth. Being Black does not mean that you have to listen to a certain type of music, that you have to speak slang, that you have to abide by this ideal that the majority of America, which is white, the white America wants you to abide by. Being Black does not mean these things. Being Black is just a skin color, just the same thing as being white. Being educated is a choice. And this is why I want to speak on this subject, because these things need to be differentiated if people of color are going to elevate out of the situation that they are in. So if you want to elevate, you need to separate yourself from this mental image of what it means to be a Black individual or a Black American. And you need to come up with your own image. So the first subject that I want to speak about is what it's actually like trying to be Black and positive with your family. The first thing that happened to me when I started speaking of truth and positivity, people started calling me white because I speak proper. I speak proper English, so I'm white. That's what my family said mostly. Like, in my head, you sound like a coon if you ever say that someone who speaks a language intelligently is white, because you've been brainwashed into thinking that education is white. English was created by the English, who were relatively Caucasian. So if we're gonna speak their language, at least speak it properly. It has nothing to do with being white. It's just a language. It's a form of communication. And if I want to speak it, then I'm going to speak it properly, right? And on other subjects, when I started to try and be positive, I started to notice how much altercation that was within my family. And I started to notice how different I was and how much of a different path I wanted to walk than my family. And this separation creates animosity. So the bonds started to break, so to speak, between my family and I. And even though they would always tell me they're so proud of me for what I was trying to do and what I was accomplishing at the time, there was always that bit of animosity. And I could tell there was always that exclusion where people feel like you're trying to be different than them, so they separate themselves from you, which was fine, because I was at a point in my life where I need to be separated. And the next subject is being positive with friends. Now, most of my friends I grew up with in high school, in high school, everyone's negative. You don't know the difference. I was just as toxic as everyone else in high school, and I can still be toxic. It's very hard to get rid of those toxic ways, right? But when I started to be that way with friends, I started to notice how small-minded a lot of my high school friends were. Because when I was on a path of trying to enlighten my people or try to share knowledge with my people, and by my people, I just mean anybody who I vibe with, period, regardless of what you look like, I started to notice that the majority of my friends were just negative. They start flaming. I'll roast the heck out of you, if we're in a roasting session, but that's not how you build each other up. That's not how you elevate. Like, if I'm talking to you about something real, or if I am doing something real, or if I'm actually taking time to create something that I care about, me personally, if I'm putting my heart into something and someone speaks negatively upon it, If it's not constructive criticism, which constructive criticism consists of a solution, if it's not constructive criticism, then my response to that is going to be very negative. My thoughts behind what you're coming to me with is going to be very negative. So in me trying to be positive and you bringing negativity to me, you're turning me into a negative mindset. So I had to separate from people like that. And this means I cut off a lot of friends, just instant block, instant unfollow, whatever, because I've already moved away from the majority of the people from that area. So that's how it ended. I lost like every single one of the friends I have from high school. And the people who I weren't as close to, who didn't feel like they could come to me with this type of foolish mindset, they actually started to see where I was coming from. They see the growth and they treat me very differently. Because they know I'm not going for that bullshit. I'm just not. Well, like I said, I lost a lot of friends, lost a lot of family, just in trying to be positive. Because in trying to make changes to improve myself, people came to me with negativity. And I guarantee this happens to every Black American. If you try and be positive, you try and be different, it's like crabs in a barrel. They will bring you down. I know I'm not speaking on deaf ears here. And the next subject is positivity in hobbies and activities. Now, I am a very talented individual, and I don't say this to brag, but I skate, I surf, I can snowboard, I can play piano, I can play drums. 90% of the things that I do, Black America is gonna consider white. It's ignorance, dude. It's ignorance. It's ignorance, man. It's literally like anything you try and do that's positive, you are pre-programmed as a Black American to think that it is white or it's of another culture. Like, dude, we are the minority. We are living in a majority Caucasian country. A lot of the things that are positive are going to be dominated by Caucasians, because look what role models do we have in this country? J. Cole, no role models. Like, we have hip hop stars and basketball players. And yes, of course, you have the seldom person that is a doctor. You have the seldom Black individual, that reaches the status of a lawyer, or, even myself. I work in corporate America. These aren't what we consider role models, because the majority of our youth is not looking up to these individuals. So when you speak of positivity and hobbies, we have no athletes to really look up to that are doing anything positive outside of playing sports or rapping or doing music. And even though I'm an artist and a musician, that's part of the reason as to why I don't have as much drive to be successful in this industry, because I want to do something different. I want to add some diversity to our culture, and I'm trying hard to figure this out. Trust me, I'm trying very hard, because we have no role models for our hobbies, for our activities. Gaming, which is the majority of what my channel consists of, it's like 99% Caucasian or Asian people. Like, and it's like the 1% of, like, at least in America. I know Brazilians get down in their games, you know what I mean? There's BRs everywhere in a lot of games, but the majority of what I'm talking about is North American. North American, there's very few Blacks that are going to be playing PC games. And if they are, they're getting into them relatively recently, right? The majority of people that I've run into playing PC games up until recently, because I've been playing PC since I was 9. Every major guild that I was in was ran by a Caucasian. So again, when we're trying to be positive and Black in our hobbies, you got to remember we have no role model. Positivity at work, corporate America. I'm literally the only black person on my team. Literally. It's not a very large team, but this is typically how it goes in IT. There are a lot of Eastern individuals. There are a lot of Europeans. There are a lot of Asians in IT. And you will find some blacks, but currently where I work, I am the only black person on my team, and I've only seen like 1 to 2 black person per section. So when you reach that status of a certain pay grade, is what I'm trying to say. When you reach the status of a certain pay grade, the amount of blacks in that position diminished greatly. When I was making under $30 an hour, it was very easy to find a person of color. It was very easy. But after I got into the 6-figure range, it's very seldom. So if we want to have positivity at work, we need people to elevate into these positions. And that brings me to my next point. It takes a very different mindset to be black in corporate America, because the type of conversations that happen within corporate are extremely different than the conversations that I grew up having. The way that you need to present yourself is very different than how you present yourself to a friend. And even though I am always authentically me, the way that I have to word every sentence is very peculiar. People will call it customer service, but it's a little more than that. It is a little more than that. And if you work in corporate, you know exactly what I mean. The way that people speak to each other in corporate America, it's very on the sly. They will say something and it is not exactly what they mean. And if you don't understand the concepts of corporate lingo, it's almost like speaking a whole different language, man, to be honest with you. And like I said, that is one thing that is not taught at all in the black community. It's something I had to learn from watching people. And when I speak to my homies, when I speak to my friends, it's in a totally different language, so to speak, than the way I speak in corporate. But to stay positive, I had to learn and adapt to my environment. And this is difficult. This is difficult for some people. For me, adaptation is a skill. And the last thing I want to talk about is positivity online. With all of these trolls, I've been gaming, like I said, PC gaming since the age of 9. I've been actually gaming since the age of 2. But I've been PC gaming since I was 9. So that's 16 years. And for 16 years, I've been dealing with trolls. When the second I want to say something positive, they look for negativity in anything that I say. And the second I come back with a negative remark, oh, look at him, he's fake. He's trying to be, he's trying to say he's positive, but he's just as toxic as everyone else. Dude, you have no idea where I came from. If you came to me like that in real life, I guarantee it wouldn't go the way it is online. So when people come to me like that, it's hard sometimes, dude, because I want to assert my dominance. Sometimes it's a natural instinct to be toxic. It's funny to talk shit sometimes. But that mindset is very, very limiting And I guarantee most of the people who are online and who speak like this, they will either A, never speak like that in real life, or B, they're so poor that they can't even understand the concept of taking positivity into their life. All they know is online. All they know is their keyboard. All they know is Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. These are the type of mindsets that I stay away from as much as I can. Even though I am constantly online, it is part of my career. It is part of my self-employment. It is part of my future. Technology is what I know. It is one of the most toxic environments, literally, for everyone, not just Black America. It is the most toxic environment, period. So trying to be positive online is literally one of the most hardest things ever. And I started this phrase, or saying, back when I was playing BDO of Peace and Love, partially because back when I used to play Terra, I was probably one of the most toxic trolls known to man. I'm trying to change. Still got some of those toxic ways, but it's hard. It's really hard. That's all I wanted to say. Just want to talk about my experience, talk about the struggle, man. If there's anything you guys want to say, drop it in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys for watching. Peace and love.